Despite the publicity surrounding the unsatisfactory launch of the Nexus 4, which launched on November the 13th, there's no denying that the latest Nexus is not only the best Nexus release to date, but also for me, the best Android phone release to date. Period. And that's coming from someone using the Samsung Galaxy S3 as their previous phone. Now, from the moment I picked it up, it felt premium. Google have gone for a great choice of materials, although they may not be the most practical from a durability perspective. The front and back are covered in Gorilla Glass, sandwiching a soft, matte rubber edging. Back has a glittery effect, visible only with lighting at a certain angle. I do like it, but to be honest, I think most people around you would hardly notice it, but it is growing on me. Now, I have had issues with how easily the back scratches, and luckily I've not had a crack in the 1 week of use that I've had it, but I've seen a slight scuff and a hairline scratch here and there. Generally, the build quality is excellent. When you squeeze the phone, most of the time there's no creaking and it feels amazingly well built. However, sometimes when squeezing either the top or the bottom of the phone, I've started to notice a little creaking. Again, it's not a big deal, but it's that extra 1% that still separates the build quality of, say, the iPhone 5 with the Nexus 4. I do think the volume rocker and in particular the power button could have had better definition when you're feeling for them. The power button in particular needs a bit more definition and sometimes doesn't feel very solid. I do love the effect that they've achieved with wrapping the glass over the edges of the sides, which makes it extremely comfortable to slide from the edges. Another thing, the front glass is so smooth, honestly. At first I thought it was too smooth, but then I guess they designed it that way to work with the new swipe keyboard. At first I didn't use the feature much, but I've found that gradually I've used it more and more, as it's actually more comfortable to slide around, especially one-handed. On the subject of the keyboard, I really do like the stock one on Jelly Bean 4.2. The first thing I normally do with a new Android phone is replace the keyboard with a Google Play alternative, but I've had no urge to do this with the Nexus 4. Prediction is good, it's accurate, and swiping is becoming increasingly useful for me, especially in one-handed use. I'll lay it out right now. Jelly Bean 4.2 on the Nexus 4 is the best Android experience I've had to date. It's just so smooth on the Nexus 4. With Jelly Bean 4.1 on the Galaxy S3, there were times when it was smooth and other times a bit juddery, but the Nexus 4 is consistently smooth no matter how many apps I've had open, and I'm so impressed with it. It would go a long way to persuading some iPhone users to switch, and this begs the question as to why manufacturers customize Android at all. Why? They never add anything, only slow and clog it up and uglify the experience and delays updates. Having used stock Jelly Bean, I could not now go back to a manufacturer skin version of Android. I wish some Android phone manufacturers would just have the balls to release a phone with stock Android. They're all looking to differentiate themselves from stock Android, so much that stock Android is becoming the differentiating factor. Come on, manufacturers. Now, the whole Google experience for me has been amazing on the Nexus 4. My life is just so tied up to Google right now, from Gmail to Google Calendar to Google Plus, Maps and Chrome, that for me, Nexus 4 is the only device I'll need until the next Nexus. And now with Google Now, if there's an event in my calendar, Google tells me when to get there, to leave on time. And additionally, if you've got a booking in your Gmail account, Google Now will intelligently pick it up and tell you when to travel. This phone helps provide the total Google experience and integration between services that I need. Now, just to mention quickly, Facebook integration. Now, Google don't provide Facebook integration out of the box, so that means that your contacts won't automatically sync with your Facebook and your Facebook events won't automatically appear in your calendar. You have to download an external app to do that. Now, I understand why Google have done this, that Facebook is an advertising and social network competitor to Google, but doing this certainly aren't going to win them any favors. The screen on the Nexus 4 for me is gorgeous. Now, it's got a 1280 by 768 resolution, which gives a PPI comparable to the Retina displays of the iPhone. LG have employed a zero gap technology too, so images appear right at the top of the glass with hardly any gap, which looks stunning. On the downside, colors are a bit muted and some would say actually a bit more realistic. And you notice this especially when compared to a Super AMOLED screen. However, it doesn't have the color banding issues of a Super AMOLED screen and it's great in direct sunlight. So for me, massive thumbs up for the screen. Now, the last 2 points I want to cover off in this review are probably the weaker areas of the Nexus 4. Firstly, battery life. Now, while it has a fairly large 2100 milliampere battery life seems to be distinctly average. I generally last a whole day on normal usage, but on heavy usage, you really will need a recharge before the day is out. Now, apparently some users have said that the recent 4.2.1 update to Jelly Bean helps with battery life, but I really haven't noticed any difference. Now, in terms of internal storage, you can get either the 16 or the 8 gig model, and I would seriously consider going for the 16 gig model, which only actually has 12 gigs of free space. So with the 8 gig model, you only have about 6 to play with, which is definitely not enough, given that some games require 2 gigs these days to install. And remember, there's no external micro USB storage support. Let's finish on the camera. The camera on the Nexus 4 is good. That's it. It's not excellent like the iPhone 5's, it's just solid. There's a little bit of graininess to low light shots, and I would definitely consider the Galaxy S3's camera as superior. It shoots 1080p video, but there's no continuous autofocus, and you do get that slight screen wobble effect if you move the phone very quickly. That's not a big deal, but still, I haven't seen that in the last couple of phones that I've owned. Photosphere is a bit of a gimmick. It's fun at first, but then you'll soon forget about it. One thing I do like about the camera is the shooting interface. And I like the option wheel, which appears wherever you place your finger, and it makes switching settings quick and fairly enjoyable. Wanted to quickly touch on the sensitivity issues with the screen as well. A lot of people have commented that the screen isn't as sensitive as other phones that they've used in the past, and it definitely takes a bit of getting used to, but it's certainly not a fault. I think it's calibrated that way. Overall, I have been so impressed with the Nexus 4 experience. I actually look forward to using the phone as much as possible. It feels amazing. People notice it when you pull it out, and importantly, the OS and integration with Google makes my life easier. It makes my life easier, and that is a win for me. And that's what these devices are meant to do. And that's what the Nexus 4 does in a beautiful and premium looking form factor. For me, the lack of 4G is not an issue because I'm based in the UK. For US users, this is going to be an issue. But the phone makes me glad of the lack of 4G in the UK because it makes the decision for me to use it as my daily phone much, much easier. So, the Nexus 4, an amazing phone if you can get one.